Unsung Murder Ballads discusses topics of a disturbing nature.
And we're not going to hold back on the graphic details and disturbing content.
So we do not recommend our podcast for children under the age of 13.
And while we respect the victims and their families involved in these tragic cases,
we're also going to be critical of mistakes that are made during the investigations.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So with that said, this podcast may not be for everyone.
And that's okay. We're glad you're here checking us out.
And if you've made it this far, welcome to the Unsung Murder Ballads family. And follow us on Instagram at Unsung Murder Ballads if you want to talk to us.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 86. I am Janus Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
Alrighty, so tonight we have finally our second bite-sized murder episode.
Yum, delicious, tasty.
Right? It was so funny because we thought we were going to do this once every 3 months or so, but it's been probably 6 to 8 months since we've done it.
Really?
Time flies.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while since we did the first one. In fact, I'm literally looking at a chart we have, and the last time we did bite-sized murders was episode 42 back in November.
Holy crud.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Would you look at that?
So tonight, so for those who haven't joined us before, we're going to each do a short case. I mean, each of these cases could be stretched out, but again, we've always said these cases kind of have a life of their own, so we try not to extend it too super long. In fact, someone just commented on our YouTube channel that they want us to take the little Petey from Brazil from the first bite-sized murder one and turn it into a full-size episode. I don't know that we would ever go back and revisit an episode like that, but we'll give it some thought.
Yeah, worth considering.
Yes. So we're going to start this whole thing off with Joyous Dead, who's got an interesting case for us. So take it away, Miss Joyous.
All right, let's rock. Today, we're going to be talking about the case of Nona Dirksmeyer. So, it was the evening before final exams. Riley Wagner was returning from errands and was driving in her car headed back to her dorm to study. She noticed that someone was following her.
Never a good sign.
Never a good sign. I will say I often notice, quote unquote, that someone is following me and it turns out to be nothing. But sometimes they are following you, and that's the thing.
Yes, very much true.
Sometimes I notice that they are following me, and we don't love that.
No, not at all. Especially in a big city.
Yes. So she had her wits about her. She thought to herself it was weird for someone to be following her so closely. She started paying attention to what kind of vehicle it is, and she noticed that it was a man in the car.
Okay, so
he's
good.
definitely
You're gonna have
a
to make
good
a police
thing
report.
to have right away.
Yeah, good things to be clocking.
Right, and I thought someone was following her while she was walking, so that's my
Oh,
fault.
no, nope. She's in her car.
Okay.
She pulled into the parking lot and stopped into a space, which, not necessarily what you should do in that moment, but if you're panicking, that's what things happen. So then she realized that he had blocked her in with his car. Then she was trapped and alone.
Yeah, that's definitely not a smart way to do it.
Yeah. So the man then tried to force her out of her car. Initially, she froze up and wasn't sure what to do because it was all just happening so fast, and it's very normal response to shock.
I was going to say, that's exactly what you'd expect most people to do. In that moment, you're just like, oh shit, this happened way too quick.
Yep, fight, flight, freeze, that's it. So she was in shock, and as he kept trying to open the door, but she had already locked it as he was approaching, so she was safe in that manner.
Okay.
Pulls out her phone, dials 911, and the guy could see that through the window and left.
Okay, well that's good.
Which is good, yeah.
That wouldn't have worked in the 80s, so yes, that's good.
No. We love modern technology and how it stops us from getting murdered sometimes.
Sometimes.
He then chose to drive really slowly in front of her and just stare her down.
Wow.
Which, terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. Riley's story plays an important part of the events that we'll be talking about in this case, but luckily for her, she is not the victim.
Well, you did say it was the case of Nona something, so
exactly. So yeah, this is about the murder of Nona Dirksmeyer, and technically, we'll give a spoiler here, this is an unsolved case.
Technically.
Oh.
Wow.
Technically.
Wow. That sounds like something Jameson.
And I'm not the one presenting it?
I know. Well, you're listening so you can get upset.
Yeah, we're teasing you now.
Exactly. All right, so Nona Carol Dirksmeyer was born on December 26th, 1985, in Zachary, East Baton Rouge Parish, Louisiana.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is. That's a. Hey, where were you born? Zachary, East Baton Rouge Parish, Louisiana. She was the daughter of Paul Dean Dirksmeyer and Carol Yvette Larpenteur Dirksmeyer. We have lots of
I
mouthfuls.
was gonna say that was a rough one too. Jesus.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm ready for it. So she grew up in a close-knit community surrounded by the warmth of her family. Unfortunately, her father died when she was only 11 years old in 1996.
Wow.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. So then her family moved to Arkansas in the following years. Her childhood was full of dreams of music and beauty, and she really had a desire to make a difference. She attended Dover High School, where her talent blossomed. And at the age of 18, she won the prestigious Miss Teen Arkansas title in 2004.
Wow.
That ain't easy.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's not something you can just walk in and do. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Her grace, poise, and intelligence set her apart, and she dreamed of competing on an even grander stage, going to the Miss Teen USA pageant. So after graduating high school in 2004, she began her academic journey at Arkansas Tech University.
Interesting. A tech university?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm not sure why. Could have been just the closest one, could be a state one that's cheaper.
That's true. And tech doesn't necessarily mean technological, so I mean it
Mm-hmm.
should, but it probably doesn't.
So she was majoring in music education and was actively very involved with the concert chorale and the chamber choir.
Nice.
She was also passionate about raising awareness of child abuse, and she volunteered with an organization called Big Sisters.
So like big brother, big sister kind of thing?
Exactly that,
Yeah.
yeah, big brother, big sister.
Okay.
She was a big sister. So it was reported that when she was a child, she had been sexually abused, and she wanted to ensure that other children could enjoy their childhood and have someone to talk to if they needed, which I think is really beautiful.
Yeah, that's honorable, especially for because you said she was doing pageants, so you can almost see the connection there.
Yeah, it could have been that easily. At that time, she was the reigning Miss Petite Jean Valley and took part in beauty pageants so that she could raise more awareness of child abuse.
Miss Petite John Valley. I don't know if that's the name of the valley or if that's the name of like the weight class.
No, 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 it's petite like French, like P-E-T-I-T. So it would be
Gotcha,
little,
gotcha.
like Little John Valley, if you will.
Gotcha.
What?
Uh,
You said Little John. So
oh,
I
Lil
said-
John. Oh, you're so right. Good point. Janice, do you know who that is?
Yeah, it's isn't Little John like a Robin Hood kind of character?
No.
No.
Okay, we can go
He's
with
a
that.
musician. No, I like that. That's funny. I just had to ask.
Well, all right then.
The side note. All right. Sidebar over. Her mother remarried when Nona started college, and she decided to get her own apartment as she did not like her stepfather's strict rules. Which, whack as fuck to be a stepfather coming in and giving your wife's adult child rules. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he was there when she was still a teenager, though, like still in school.
That's true. I'm not sure, but he might have been. But either way, that
Or
ain't
he
your
just
kid,
has
dude.
a power trip.
Yeah, I would ascribe it to that more. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
probably.
But yeah, fuck this guy. Nona was also in a 5-year-long relationship with a young man named Kevin Jones. They met in kindergarten in Little Dover.
That's cute.
Very cute. Kindergarten sweethearts. Kevin's father, Hiram, said that Nona was considered a part of their family. And they attended different universities, but Kevin visited Nona whenever he could. When Kevin had some time off for Christmas in December, he stopped by to see Nona on December 14th, 2005, and then drove home to Dover after midnight. He knew she had plans for the next day, December 15th, because she had told him she was participating in a Big Sisters organization event.
I don't know how people make time for that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I guess at college you have breaks.
That's true.
Kevin also had plans that day, as he told his mother Janus, a school librarian, that he would go with her to the teacher's Christmas party. Nona had sent Kevin a text message that read, "Good morning, Cuddle Muffin. I love you and hope you have a great day."
Ugh, that sucks.
Oh,
Yeah, it hurts. As they were attending the party, Kevin told his mother, Janus, he was worried about Nona because she had not responded to him since her first text that morning. And he sent her the very unfortunate text of, "You alive?"
Ugh.
oh, that's. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, and I'm
that's
sure that lives rent-free in his mind.
right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm sure the police aren't going to let go of that one.
Oh, no way. He asked a friend of his, Ryan, to go check on Nona as he worked as a pizza delivery person and he was close to her apartment, so he could just go right over. And he agreed and went to her place. Ryan told him that Nona's car was there, her upstairs light was on, but there was no answer when he knocked on the door.
Yep, bad signs.
Bad signs. So upon hearing that, Kevin made the drive up to Nona's apartment with his mother and met up with Ryan at the apartment.
Okay, so they haven't called the police yet.
Yeah, but they've all pulled up.
Gotcha.
They knocked on her door multiple times, but there was still no answer. Even though Kevin had a key to Nona's apartment, he didn't have it with him, so he went around to the back of the apartment and found that the sliding door was open.
Oh, again, bad sign.
Bad sign. Well, really bad sign. As soon as he looks through the door, he sees Nona lying naked on the floor in a pool of blood.
Ugh.
And he rushed inside.
Oh, so he's not
And
very smart.
yeah, not very smart. I mean, he's in shock. There was a blood all over her face and a puddle of blood underneath her head. He desperately tried to perform CPR and lifted her in his arms in order to hold her.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it's
Which
just desperation.
I was going to say, like, at the same time, I don't know what I would do if I opened a door and my loved one was laying there. Like, I'm smart enough to know I need to just get my phone out and call the police. But if it's someone you genuinely love, you may rush forward first.
Oh, like to hold them, yeah, I don't think most human beings could not rush to like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's an impossible thing to imagine.
Especially because you want to see if they're breathing. You want to, there's a lot, because you may need to do like chest compressions. You don't know. So yeah, I don't think I would just stand there and call 911.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not to mention that, like, if the paramedics had said, or if you later found out that if you had done something a minute or two earlier,
Yes.
and you spent that minute or two earlier calling 911, then that's going to ruin you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As he's holding her, Janus, his mother, was the one to actually make the 911 call.
Smart.
She said, "My son's girlfriend, I think she's dead. There's been a terrible accident."
It's weird that she called it an accident, but okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's also in an audio clip, Kevin Jones can be heard repeatedly pleading, "I didn't do it,"
Oh, okay.
which is weird.
Very weird.
Nona's mother, Carol Dirksmeyer, later said she had found her daughter so that she could have held her for the last time.
Ugh. Heartbreaking.
So sad.
Yeah.
When Carol did arrive at the scene, crime tape was already up and the police investigation had started, so she couldn't go in. Nona had been beaten, bludgeoned, and stabbed to death just days before her 20th birthday.
Oh my God.
So young too. And she must be beautiful because she's like a beauty pageant winner.
Mm-hmm. Just devastating. A few feet away from her body, they found a condom wrapper.
Well, I guess at least the asshole who did it was, yeah. I mean,
Weird behavior.
Yeah.
It doesn't really fit together well.
No, it's weird.
Yeah.
Makes me think maybe it was consensual before.
Yeah, and then like was and then wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah. Her phone was also near her, but the battery had been removed. Back when phones had batteries you could remove.
Yes, I forgot those days.
Yeah, right? When you used to drop your phone and it would explode into multiple pieces and the battery would go flying.
Yes. Yep.
What a time. It was believed based on the crime scene that her head had been smashed with the heavy base of a lamp that was lying nearby.
Ugh.
She had also been punched in the face so hard that it caused bruising on her brain.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And she had shallow stab wounds all over her neck and shoulders.
Wow.
How pissed off do you have to be at somebody to punch them so hard that you have that kind of damage.
How do you punch so hard?
Yeah. And not only
Like,
that, but like, I don't even know if it's how pissed off you have to be. Like, how do you, I just don't get it.
Yeah,
Yeah. But again, that's why we're not killers.
right. She had also been strangled to the point that her hyoid bone in her neck was broken.
Fuck. So this dude's strong.
Yeah, and also like clearly went a bunch of different routes to kill her, or was in just like a murderous frenzy.
So yeah, something. Fuck.
Yeah. Kevin was called in for questioning twice, and the second time he was subjected to a polygraph test that the examiner said he failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
However, as we know, polygraph tests are bullshit.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't really rely on those. Yeah.
Exactly. Police believed Kevin was responsible because of this polygraph test, and the murder investigation led by Mark Frost took a number of months to build its case.
so it was cold.
Yes.
Get it? No.
Nice.
Boo.
Nice,
Frog.
nice, nice.
I quit.
On March 31st, 2006, over 3 months later, Kevin was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Which seems strange because it seems like he really had an alibi.
Well, I was going to say, not only that, but it seems too straightforward for something we present here. That's all I'm going to say.
Right, right.
And you said
there's
it's
got to be more.
And you said it's unsolved, so there's
Yeah.
that.
During the period between Nona's death and Kevin's arrest, there were many theories and rumors going around about what happened. The police told Nona's mother, Carol, who at one time loved Kevin like he was family, that Kevin was the one responsible for Nona's death.
That sucks.
Yeah, it really fucking sucks. They told her that he was a narcissist and that he became enraged and killed her when he entered the apartment, saw the condom wrapper, and believed Nona had been with another man.
Okay.
Which is weird bullshit.
I was going to say it's a viable theory, but not
He
really.
had people with him.
Yeah. No,
He wasn't alone.
No, I think they meant like the night before.
Oh, could be. Per that, they also believe that he may have staged the crime scene and made sure that he was intentionally made sure that he was not alone when her body was found.
Okay. And I have a feeling you're going to say next, and then he purposely contaminated it to put his DNA in places. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Rushing in like that makes sense if you're the killer.
Exactly. So, like, at first, the police and prosecutors argued that it was Kevin's DNA and fingerprints that were on the lamp that had hit Nona over the head, but this was soon proven wrong.
Interesting.
Which is kind of an odd thing to prove wrong.
Well, I'm going to assume someone else's DNA is found there. And it's hard to prove that if think about if your friends are over, let alone a significant intimate other, their fingerprints and their DNA are going to be on random things throughout your house.
Right. That was my first thought. Like, of course he touched that lamp probably many times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all very like almost like the police are trying to find the most convenient explanation and not necessarily the most true explanation.
Right.
Probably because they don't know and they just want to pin it on whatever seems the most plausible.
Well,
yeah.
But again, you got to keep in mind that I would say 8 out of 10 times the answer is the most simple answer.
This is true.
Yeah.
The defense also asked to see Nona's cell phone, the one that had the battery removed during the murder, as they argued there could be evidence on it.
Okay.
However, the state admitted that they had given the cell phone to Nona's stepfather, Dwayne Dipert, who had completely erased its content.
Weird.
Sus.
Weird. Yep. Yeah, he just got added to my list.
Yeah, well, he denies it was done out of any malice, which, It also turned out that the examiner who had administered the polygraph test to Kevin was not a real examiner, and the test was just an attempt to get him to confess to the crime.
Oh my God, that's obscene.
Literally, they're bringing in a fake polygraph guy.
Police tactics are so fucked up.
And it's like, you fuck yourself in the case when you do this.
Well, had he confessed, they wouldn't have fucked them. But because he didn't confess, it screws them over.
Right, exactly. According to the prosecution's timeline, they said that Kevin left Nona's apartment at 11:15 a.m. and drove back to Dover. He would have been in Dover around noon.
What time was this thing with his mother? Like he's
Right.
gonna
Okay.
drive
I
all
got more
night.
stuff. Don't worry.
Gotcha.
He was then seen at the Bayou Bridge Cafe around 12:30 or 1 p.m. The court heard that Kevin left a perfectly identifiable palm print on the lamp.
Mm,
It was the prosecution's case that Kevin then planned that he would be present when Nona's body was found so that he could intentionally contaminate the scene.
yeah, that's what I thought they were gonna say.
Yeah, again, making sense. The prosecution argued that that was why Kevin held Nona when he entered the apartment with Janus and Ryan.
Yeah, again,
Oh,
yeah, put your
okay.
DNA
Yeah.
everywhere. Exactly.
Exactly.
I can see where police would go down that path. It would be hard to prove.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not a wrong line of thinking. In relation to his palm print on the lamp, the same lamp that police said was the murder weapon, the defense argued that the palm print was also on the light bulb.
Maybe
So,
maybe he could have been the one to put the light bulb in.
well, yeah, this was the defense's argument.
Oh, gotcha,
They were
gotcha,
like,
gotcha.
oh, like his palm print is also on the light bulb. Clearly, he grabbed both of them and screwed in a light bulb at one point. He wouldn't have done that, like, post murder. Like,
Yeah.
that wouldn't make sense.
No, not at all. It'd be really weird if you did.
It'd be a really odd thing to do, wouldn't it?
That would be a good case for insanity.
Yeah,
Oh,
literally. There were also fingerprints that were found on the base of the lamp as well. However, those were not Kevin's print. They
Interesting.
belonged to an unidentified person. Nona's phone was found inside the apartment, and yet, even though the battery had been removed and was missing, the phone was not tested for fingerprints or DNA.
Oh, they're such idiots.
Why?
Literally, why?
Why?
I know, I would love
What?
to know.
Because they think they have their guy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The defense argued to the jury that the killer would have had a number of cuts and bruises on their hands and body after beating Nona,
Fair.
which makes sense. Police had taken pictures of Kevin, the front and back of his hands, and his body when they spoke to him on December 15th, which is the day after, and there were no bruises, scratches, or any abrasions on his body.
Yeah, because it sounds less and less likely that it was him.
Exactly. So after the intense trial and 8 hours of deliberation, the jury unanimously decided that Kevin Jones was not guilty.
Well, that's good. At least he's not spending time in jail for something he didn't do.
Exactly. He said, I know exactly what it feels like to have people think you did something that you didn't do, and I wouldn't ever wish that on anyone else.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. After he was found not guilty, a special prosecutor was appointed and a second investigation of the case began.
They've lost so much time, though. That sucks.
So much time
Yeah.
with a guy that like clearly wasn't the guy. After continuing the investigation, police found a second suspect, Gary Dunn, who lived across from Nona in the same apartment complex.
Okay.
And as an added bonus, he was on parole at the time and had only been out for 4 months.
Yeah, repeat offenders be repeat offending.
They do be. So, why was he on parole? He had spent 6 years in the Arkansas Department of Corrections following his conviction of battery in the second degree after a 2002 incident where he beat a female jogger with a large tree branch and threatened to kill her.
A large tree branch.
What?
And apparently the police did not consider to literally look 10 feet away at another person who lived in the apartment complex who had already assaulted and battered a woman.
With a tree branch.
With a tree branch.
It's not even a
Such-
stick.
Exactly.
Fuck.
He became a suspect in her murder after traces of his DNA were found on the condom wrapper discovered in Nona's apartment.
Yep. That's
Yep.
awesome. Good.
Yeah. In 2008, prosecutors charged Dunn with the murder, and the case went to trial. They charged Dunn and said there was a DNA evidence linking him to the crime, which, there is, but I don't know if that fully tells the story,
Yeah, because they could have been consensual.
right? And we don't know that.
Yeah.
Prosecutors said that he raped or tried to rape Nona before killing her, which, it sounds weird to me because who puts on a condom before they rape someone?
The only thing I can come up with is if you're going to rape them, you don't want to leave your semen behind.
Right, I guess they didn't say that they found the condom itself.
Correct. So he's an idiot for leaving the wrapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His wife, Jennifer, testified during his initial trial that a few weeks before Dirksmeyer's death, she woke up one night to an empty bed.
Hmm.
Around 3 a.m., she got up and looked for her husband. That's when she saw him exiting Nona's apartment,
Yeah.
which led to
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
which led to a heated confrontation.
You think?
Yeah.
Yup.
Wow.
Yeah. She couldn't remember the exact details of what was said, but it contributed to her thinking Dunn was somehow involved in her death.
Yeah, that would be a good indication.
Upon the presentation of the DNA evidence at the trial, it was disputed by a defense expert, and it was determined that there was little direct evidence tying Dunn to the crime, which is fair.
I was gonna say yes, it's true, but it really sucks that he's probably the one who did it, and here we are, probably not gonna convict him of it.
Yeah, because there's just really not evidence.
Yeah.
At this trial, the jogger that he had attacked previously and had been on parole for that testified.
Good. Fuck him.
Yeah, absolutely. She told the jury that she was jogging on a trail and saw Dunn sitting on a bench back in 2002. She testified that she ran past him, and then the trail curved to the right, and she heard footsteps running swiftly behind her. She turned to see who was coming, and it was Dunn.
Fucking terrifying.
Yes, he's running, and he's chasing her with a tree branch that's more than 2 feet long.
Holy crap. I didn't realize how
Yep.
big it was.
Yeah,
Big.
that's what I mean. They didn't say stick, like
Yeah, they're saying it's a branch.
it's
like
a
thick-
branch. Like he picked this up off the ground.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He caught up to her and hit her over the head with the tree branch.
Fuck.
Oh my God.
She fell to the ground, and as she laid there, he began beating her with his fists.
Yeah, this
He
dude.
struck her.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, is it he struck her face, chest, and ribs multiple times, and repeatedly told her, "I'm going to fucking kill you."
That dude has some serious anger issues towards women.
Yeah, big time and unprovoked.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Yes, seriously, what the fuck is up with this guy? She managed to fight him off somehow, which is amazing. She was able to get up and run back to her car.
She ran back to her car after surviving all that.
Yep.
Well,
Crap.
they didn't specify how many times he hit her, but keep in mind she's a jogger, so she's fit. She's probably
Right.
more fit than he is. So yeah, I can see her once she was able to get to her feet. Getting the fuck out of there was the smartest thing she did.
Yeah, she's probably faster than him, I would hope.
Yeah, I would think so.
But either way, it doesn't matter if she's faster because she looked back and saw him running in the opposite direction.
Okay.
However, this evidence against Dunn in Nona's trial was described to be largely circumstantial.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the trial ended in a hung jury twice.
Twice.
They retried and it was hung jury twice. They did not try him a third time. And as the prosecutors wanted to have what they actually needed for conviction if they were going to try again.
Yeah, it makes sense.
After the second hung jury, the prosecutor's office was able to speak to the jurors, and they said that they definitely believed Dunn did it, but there were too many mistakes made by law enforcement in this case for them to convict in the right mind.
Yeah, which again makes sense, but now he's probably never going to be prosecuted for it.
Exactly. After spending nearly 2 years behind bars when he was accused of Nona's murder, he was finally released from custody. He's now, ironically, sitting in jail for his unnerving encounter with a different beauty queen in the same Arkansas town.
Wow, he never learns, does he? Holy
Never. And also,
cow.
he's clearly has a thing out for specific type of woman.
Yeah, he has a target profile.
Yeah. 13 years after the death of Nona Dirksmeyer, he was arrested again in December 2018 on charges of attempted kidnapping.
Wow.
And he was on parole for yet another separate case at that time.
Yeah, repeat offenders be repeat offending.
Exactly.
When are we gonna learn?
Exactly. So coming back to the start of this story, 18-year-old Riley Wagner, who was at Arkansas Tech, the same college that Nona had attended over a decade earlier,
Wow.
noticed that Dunn was following her.
Fuck.
She said after, "I actually had grown up hearing about Nona because I do compete in pageantry, and that was something my mom always warned me about, was to be extra cautious."
So in a weird way, Nona may have saved her life.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It was later revealed that he had ropes and knives in his vehicle at the time.
Fuck.
And as we know, she started calling 911 and he ran away. Just 17 minutes later, police received a second call from another woman who had also been nearly forced into a car by Dunn.
Oh, so he was definitely out to get somebody that night.
Yes.
Wow.
And at that point, he was arrested for attempted kidnapping.
Fuck him. I hope they threw away the key this time.
I sure fucking hope so. The female victims both provided statements to police and provided a very good description of the suspect and his vehicle. Again, like we said at the beginning, they're really keeping an eye on, like, they clearly are aware that this can happen, keeping an eye on the type of vehicle so we can find this guy. So after he was booked, he appeared in a felony bond hearing before District Court Judge Don Bourne on Wednesday, December 5th, 2018. During this hearing, he was ordered to be held on a $100,000 bond.
Good. Fuck him.
Ain't nobody paying that.
No. Well, hopefully not.
That seems a little bit low, though. Like,
Yeah.
$100,000 though? That's a lot of money for somebody that's not
bail
rich.
Depends on someone's resources, and he definitely did not have those resources.
Exactly.
He was sentenced to 15 years in prison for attempted kidnapping, but only has to serve a third of that sentence before he would be eligible for parole.
Fuck. Which means so this was 2018, so he's eligible for parole. He might even be
correct. He was eligible for parole on August 11th, 2023.
Wow.
Riley, looking back on the case, said being aware saved her life.
Absolutely.
She said, I just think I'm very lucky I got away from the situation and that I was paying attention and aware of my surroundings, whereas I just think there could have been a different outcome.
Absolutely. She's incredibly lucky.
Yeah. She stated that she struggled with PTSD, thinking about what could have happened that night.
Yeah. That would keep me up at night.
Absolutely. Precisely that. She said, I struggled with insomnia, post-traumatic stress, and I would also have night sweats. After I took the time to really work through all of the things that were happening to me, I asked myself, how can I turn this from a negative situation to a positive situation? Now, she's working on lobbying for victims' rights and working on a bill to protect victims' information.
Good for her.
Yeah. It's awesome. Like, I'm sure that's so helpful to her recovery from that, to feel at least some agency that, like, I can do something about this.
Yeah, she took some control back. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Despite everything that we know about Gary Dunn and the murder of Nona Dirksmeyer, it's sad to say that this case is technically still open.
Yeah, but I'm going to emphasize technically.
Technically.
Yeah.
Technically.
I seriously doubt anyone at whatever prison he's at is listening to this right now, but, we're not normally advocates for vigilante justice, but hey, guys.
We're not?
Aren't we? But do your thing, guys, is all we're saying.
Speak to yourself. Speak for yourself.
Do your thing is what we're saying.
Yeah, if you get unsung murder ballads in jail,
yeah,
send us a letter or something.
Send us an email if you can get to an email.
I'll send you a JPEG.
Alrighty, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Tragic. Yeah. All right, so now Jameson, you've got one for us, right?
I do, and I got a
Alright.
little bit of a teaser opener here,
I think we all do. I think we're getting good at that.
we'll get right into it here.
All right.
So, what was your first concert? Were you searched going into the venue? Back in the day, even smaller clubs searched you when you went in, and then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of them stopped doing that.
Oh, how far back in the day are we at? Because I feel like I get searched every time I go in a venue.
Really? Because when I go to like small clubs for like bands that aren't really known, we're not searched that often.
I feel like I usually get my bag checked, but I guess you probably wouldn't get searched.
Yeah, I don't have anything
always check
except my
bags.
wallet. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, whenever I'm in Nashville in particular, they don't check for anything. And
Right.
when I've seen a few shows in New York recently-ish, and I wasn't checked for anything going in, so I haven't been searched in a while.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I believe the shift away from bands being signed to major labels and making a ton of money up front, new bands have to rely on merch sales, which requires some face-to-face time with fans, which can be both a blessing and a curse.
Right,
Yes.
bro.
Yes. Because I've thought that, because So, any listener that's listened to us long enough knows we're big fans of the band The Dead Deads. They do the opening guitar riff for us. And there was one time a couple years ago, a fan got really upset at the bass player, Daisy. And like he posted videos and photos of himself burning his Dead Deads merchandise. Because
Those fucking
just sick.
lunatics.
Yeah, because he got upset with her, and it had everything to do with, if I remember correctly, I could be remembering this wrong, but he said something like, "You said you loved me," or some bullshit like that, which,
Oh my
bands
God.
say to their fans, right? And
Yeah, something tells me they didn't say that.
well, no, they may have, because
Or they might have been like, we love our
yeah,
fans.
exactly. So there's a group of us that have been in the deadcore forever, and we all made sure we touched base with each other to watch for this guy at shows, because the band does meet up with you face to face after they play at the merch table, and you're not being searched going in. So this is a big concern now. Like, I think the last time I was searched for anything, now that back to the topic, was a Bare Naked Ladies concert where they were taking macaroni and cheese boxes from people.
That's so rude. No, it's so funny because it must just be the venues, because I get searched all the time.
Maybe you just look really dangerous.
For this listeners, you've never seen me, but I'm really scary looking.
Oh, clearly.
I have 2 nose rings and 1 tattoo. I look terrifying.
No, your photo is on our Instagram, because we posted a photo of all of us up there, so people
That's
can
true.
see.
So our fans know how scary I look.
Yes, she's terrifying.
Absolutely. Everyone says that when they meet me. They're like, holy shit, I'm scared.
Yeah, they want to run and hide, and sometimes they pee their pants.
It's true. Yeah, they're like, this 5'1" little tiny girl, she's quaking in their boots.
She's like a chihuahua.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all better watch out. I bite.
All right, sorry, Jameson. Go ahead.
It's all good. I love our tangents. As humanity likes to prove us time and time again, where there's access, there is danger.
Yeah.
Tonight, we will be discussing one of those singer-songwriters that had the misfortune of having a fan that was too possessive. This is a story of Christina Grimmie.
All right.
Oh,
you recognize the name.
yes,
that
I
was
know who that is.
Wow,
I don't
okay.
know this story though.
Interesting. Wow, I have to say, this is an unsung murder ballad first, everybody.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I know the person. Wow.
All right, well, let's get into it here.
Let's
Christina
do it.
Victoria Grimmie was born to Tina and Albert Grimmie in Marlton, New Jersey on March 12th, 1994. Her mother worked as a receptionist until she was diagnosed with breast cancer, something she'd overcome more than once, giving a positive outlook to everybody in the family and how they went about their lives.
Yeah, overcoming breast cancer, that's a lot. That's a lot on
And
the family.
To do it more
Mhm.
than once,
Yeah.
that's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Her father worked at Verizon. She also had an older brother. His name was Marcus. Her father noted that Christina's talent for singing came about when she was 6, and she started to play the piano at age 10. Despite having piano lessons, Christina said that she played everything by ear. Christina began posting videos to her YouTube channel in 2009 at age 15 under the username of Zelda Axe Love 64.
Okay.
Christina grew up listening to contemporary Christian artist Stacey Orico. She also cited Christina Aguilera as her main influence vocally and listed her favorite singers as Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, Lady Gaga, and Beyonce.
Okay. So her influences are that's good company.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
She said she also liked dubstep and DJ music, as well as rock and roll and heavy metal artists Metallica, Pantera, Iron Maiden, and Tool.
Wow, so her tastes are all over the place.
Yeah, she just loves music in general.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how familiar you guys are with technical music terms and all this, but I thought it was kind of cool that they threw this in here, and I kind of had a little musical nerd moment. Christina was a light lyric soprano with a range spanning 3 octaves.
Yeah, she was a great singer.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Christina first earned recognition for her cover of Miley Cyrus's Party in the USA in August of 2009.
I hate to admit that I know that song. I know
I'm
most.
pretty sure
That's a
everyone
modern
does.
classic. You
I
have to
know.
know it.
I know everybody probably likes that song, but it's outside my general wheelhouse. But the fact that I know it just now, I was like, oh, now it's in my head. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's an
You'll be
earworm.
singing it all night long.
Let's hope not.
Christina's covers first gained attention because she stood out with her personality and her interpretation of well-known songs. With the fame, however, came the good and the bad. People criticized her for what she was doing, and jealousy definitely played a role in that.
I have no doubt. You can't do anything on the internet today without expecting the trolls.
Right. And she was an early YouTube star. Like those were
Oh yeah, where
that
it's
was like big, like back when like YouTube, like before this era, like YouTube was just a place where you put stupid videos, but like this is like starting to become something you can have as a career. So I'm sure people are like so jealous of her coming out of nowhere.
yeah, and just I'm sure they were shitting all over her because that's what people do, and they suck.
Well, yeah,
Amen.
because when people have something that, you want but don't have, what are they going to do? Of course they're going to say something.
Well, I would
Haters gonna
argue.
hate.
I was gonna say yeah. I would argue most people would just enjoy what you were doing, but unfortunately, that percentage of people that suck are gonna shit all over it, and that sucks. But continue, because I'm sure she's gonna overcome it since we haven't gotten that far.
Correct. It was decided, however, that Christina would homeschool her junior year of high school in 2010 so she could focus on her potential new career. That same year, she was noticed by Kurt Hugo Schneider and
Oh,
Sam
that's
Tu yeah, it's quite
Nickelodeon,
a
right?
I believe so.
Oh wow.
And Sam Tui, who were artists who had done the same thing and had had earlier success. They invited her to collaborate, and the group covered Nelly's Just a Dream in a video, which received more than 19 million views over the course of 10 years.
Wow.
Later, that cover song became available on Spotify and iTunes. So, I
Oh
mean,
man, I gotta
they're
listen to
doing
that. A real
something right if
throwback.
yeah, they're
And
doing something right if it's available there. I mean,
I know, and Joyous, this is your time period, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit younger than her. Yeah, this was 100% what I was into. If you look up pictures of her, it looks very much like the way I did my hair when I was in high school.
So very emo.
Yes, emo, like scene queen, like she had that look.
Gotcha. All right.
in January 2011, Christina had over 500,000 subscribers and growing in popularity. Later that year, she placed number 2 in the YouTube competition behind none other than Selena Gomez.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty impressive because I mean, Selena Gomez, no matter who you are, she's a name. You'll know her either
Yeah.
by name or by her music. And
And
to have somebody
she's
coming up like this to finish behind her, that was pretty cool.
and ironically, she stars in a TV show about a true crime podcast.
That is true. Only murders in the
That's
building.
right. How awesome is that?
5 degrees of separation, just coming around
Right.
and coming around.
You gotta wonder if, like, in the making of that, if she ever thinks back to Christina Grimmie. I'm sure
Oh,
she
I'm sure
does in
that
general, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of because of the true crime podcast thing. You gotta
yeah,
wonder if that comes up at all.
Maybe.
the close competition brought Christina to the attention of Selena Gomez's mother and manager, Mandy Teefey. Mandy and her husband Brian soon became Christina's managers.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, you're definitely taking a chance on a new talent. I think that's cool.
I think that's what more of that needs to happen,
Oh,
personally.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christina performed at the UNICEF charity concert and also performed backup vocals for Selena Gomez and The Scene, which was her band, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Okay.
I knew Selena Gomez, but I didn't realize she had a name for her band.
Oh, don't worry. I'm here to represent this generation.
Okay, thank you.
That's awesome.
Selena Gomez became her mentor. Christina appeared on the Billboard Social 50. She also opened for Selena Gomez and The Scene, All-Star Weekend, and the Jonas Brothers during the Concert of Hope. Christina toured for 6 weeks with Selena Gomez and The Scene, opening for them. Christina released an EP entitled Find Me on June 14th, 2011. The album was released independently and debuted at number 35 on the Billboard 200 chart in the US. Her debut single, Advice, was released to Radio Disney on June 11th. Christina's popularity and exposure continued to grow throughout 2011. In 2012, Christina moved to LA to pursue her career in singing.
I was going to say eventually she's got to move to someplace like that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you can not.
I mean, you could, but not if you really, really want to get into it.
Though Christina's YouTube focused mostly on covers and original music, she also started pursuing other interests. By April 2013, Christina's channel held more than 375 million views and 2 million subscribers.
Nice.
So she's getting up there, which is really impressive.
And that's like 13 years ago.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
She then opened for Selena Gomez during her North American leg of her Stardance tour, performing songs from her debut album, With Love. Christina auditioned for season 6 of the NBC singing competition show, The Voice. You guys ever seen that one?
No.
Yep.
No.
So, The Voice is basically like American Idol, but they have 4 judges, and they're all turned around, so they cannot see the contestant.
Oh, okay. Okay. I've
And
seen
if
clips.
the judge likes the contestant, they hit a button and they turn around and say, "Yep, I want you on my team," or I have
Gotcha.
faith in you.
I've seen
kind of
clips.
thing.
Yep. Okay.
So, all 4 coaches on that show, which included Adam Levine, Usher, Shakira, and Blake Shelton, all quote unquote turned their chairs for her.
Nice.
So all of these people saw all this promise in her. So I guess I haven't gone too deep into the show. I've only watched a couple episodes, but I guess you can decide which judge or which team you want to be on.
Mm-hmm.
She opted for Adam Levine's team after he said that she had potential to be a huge star due to her voice and her stage presence. So Christina finished 3rd place in the competition.
Nice.
Which I think is pretty impressive. I don't remember how many contestants there are, but there are a good number of them. So to finish 3rd, that's impressive. Adam Levine expressed his desire to sign her to his record label, as well did rapper Lil Wayne. She ended up choosing to sign with Island Records. She would then go on tour with the other contestants from The Voice. So they would do a singing tour where a whole bunch of them would perform, and I think they did that with American Idol too at one point. In 2014, while on The Voice, Usher called her a baby Celine Dion.
Wow.
So, I mean, take that as you want, but I would see that as pretty high praise.
Yeah, I who wouldn't?
Christina began writing and recording music for her sophomore album, the lead single, which was going to be dropped in July 2014, with the album to follow in the coming year. On March 4th, 2015, Christina announced that she had been dropped by Island Records and that she was working on the new album to be released in late 2015. On June 10th, 2016, Christina performed with Before You Exit at the Plaza Live in Orlando. After her performance ended at 10 p.m., Christina was signing autographs for fans. At 10:24, she was approached by 27-year-old Kevin James Loibel. Christina opened her arms to give him a huge hug, and Kevin pulled his Glock and fired at point-blank range at Christina.
Yeah, that sucks.
Oh, God.
In front of other fans, too.
No, not only that, but in front of her brother.
Oh.
Kevin was tackled by Christina's brother, and the 2 men fought.
Wow.
Kevin broke free, backed up against a wall, and took the coward's way out.
Of course he did.
He shot himself.
Of course he did.
Christina was on the floor, bleeding from the head, and had a very weak pulse. After CPR was performed, she was taken to the Orlando Regional Medical Center in critical condition. Unfortunately, Christina passed away at 11 p.m. that night.
Oh.
That sucks.
Just so fucking sudden and out of nowhere.
And she's so young and just starting out.
Yeah.
And she was just trying to embrace her fans.
Yeah.
Like, that's just absolute shitty.
Yeah, that sucks.
An autopsy concluded that she had been shot once in the head and 3 times in the chest.
Oh, so he just kept pulling the trigger.
Yeah. Yep. Now, as we love to do in this podcast, we're going to shed some light on some awful security and awful police work here.
Yeah, I was going to say that has to be up there.
The Orlando Police Department said Kevin, he traveled from Orlando, from his home in St. Petersburg, bringing 2 handguns, 2 extra magazines of ammo, and a large hunting knife.
How much time did he think he was going to have?
Right?
Right. And also, this is very premeditated.
According to police, the bags of attendees that would normally be checked were not checked, and none of the attendees were frisked.
Wow.
So he was just able to bring all of that in with no issues.
Insane. Just like that someone could have that much on their person.
One witness complained that security was more concerned about food being brought into the venue than anything else.
Of course they were.
Just focusing on the absolute wrong things.
Yup.
Kevin did not know Christina, nor did Christina know him. Kevin did not have a mental disorder, but did have a history of violence.
They
Police-
always do.
It's insane.
It's sad how people just don't, like, we go back to repeat offenders are going to repeat offend. The world needs to start taking that shit more seriously.
For real.
I don't get it.
Because
But
we're literally going to have 3 of those tonight.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Police did not offer a motive, but said that Kevin showed an unhealthy and unrealistic infatuation with Christina,
Ugh.
and that Kevin had tried to make himself more attractive for her by losing weight, doing hair transplants, whitening his teeth, and even having eye surgery.
Wow.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so he was going all out. On June 16th, Christina was buried at Berlin Cemetery in a private ceremony. Now, if I don't know if they ever told her this, but if I found this out like the night of, I would be crushed if I were her. Longtime friend Selena Gomez was performing only a few miles away when Christina was shot.
Oh.
That sucks.
Like, imagine just like someone you've grown so close to, and she's so close, and you can't be there.
That's so awful.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Selena dedicated her performance of Hillsong's Transfiguration to Christina's memory at her June 11th performance and canceled a meet and greet for that night, citing fear and grief.
You can't blame her at that point.
Not
Yeah.
at all. No.
In fact, now that you've mentioned meet and greets, Joyous, do you remember if we were searched when we got to the meet and greet for the Pretty Reckless?
I don't remember. I'm trying to think. That was the Royale, right?
No, that was at the Hard Rock, right across from Fenway. Because we were out there for a number of hours.
Oh, you mean the House of Blues?
Oh, yes, the House of Blues. You're right.
I
I'm
was like,
sorry.
what the fuck is the Hard Rock?
Hard Rock Cafe, but you're right. House of
I
Blues.
feel like House of Blues usually checks bags at least.
Yeah, I don't remember being searched, but again, I there's not much to search on me, so maybe that's the problem.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jameson. Sorry.
No, you're all good. Now, this next part I actually remember, and I remember hearing it on the radio, and I remember thinking to myself, well, she probably just is, struggling with substance abuse. But apparently this shook Selena so bad that she checked herself into rehab and postponed the rest of the tour.
Yeah, I mean,
I
don't know.
remember
That may have
hearing
nothing to
about-
do. That may have nothing to do with substances. She just may be suffering from some serious depression and PTSD.
Yeah, and there's different kinds of rehab
Yeah,
other than just the drug kind.
right. So who knows? I don't know enough about Selena Gomez.
Yeah, but just so devastating to learn of the murder of a friend.
Yes, especially in those circumstances.
Yes.
The family of the perpetrator of Christina's death had left a handwritten note on the doorstep offering their condolences for their son's actions, but no other comments.
The doorstep of what?
Apparently of
Like the venue?
either the venue or Christina's family's place. It didn't
Weird.
really specify.
All right, that's weird, but still, fuck them.
And
Yeah,
like
like that's
that takes
that's
a
your
lot of
gesture.
gall.
Yeah, like it's not their fault, but fuck you.
It's not the best thought out gesture
No,
in the
not at
world,
all.
to say the least.
Christina's death led to calls for increased security at performing arts venues and also created a discussion about gun control and mental health.
As it does every time, and then the conversation ends, and we have the same conversation again.
And
Now,
again and again.
Janus, I will bring up a incident that you will probably know a little bit more about that kind of ties into this one. The death of Dimebag Darrell.
Oh yeah, yep. He
Who's
was
that?
The
he was
same
the
kind of mentality.
he's the lead guitarist. He was the lead guitarist of Pantera, and he was shot on stage.
Stage.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
Yeah, and off topic a little bit, he's the first person to ever be buried in a Kiss casket.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah, which is probably weirder than him getting shot on stage.
Yeah, that's weird. There's no way that was his plan, right?
No, he bought it. He wanted it. Like Kiss, the rock band, released caskets.
And he said, I'll buy this right now.
He did. He bought one. There aren't that many out there. He bought one, and he was the first person to ever be buried in a Kiss casket. But he was shot while performing on stage, which is fucked up.
It really is.
Man.
So while she didn't die on stage, it's kind of similar in the fact that, there was lax security and that these psychos made it through. And unfortunately, these talents paid the price.
Yeah, and it's interesting because not that I think there's a big difference, but Dimebag Darrell, like, it's Pantera, it's heavy metal. You almost expect violence a bit more. I mean, you were talking, Christina Grimmie was what, 20-ish,
Yeah.
and she's
Yeah, making pop music.
making pop music, meeting her fans, just living her life, and some dickhead who had an obsession with her. Fuck him.
Right. And like, why did he make himself attractive for her if he's gonna...
He must have known he was never gonna get her. And maybe his
Right.
plan was to kill her and kill himself and hope they could be together in the afterlife, because that's how crazy
Yeah,
people think.
People do think really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was
it's
just
sick.
revisiting the Assassins musical today and thinking about that.
I love that musical.
It's so good.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but that song from the Assassins, I Would Do Anything for Your Love,
Mm-hmm.
in the musical, it's sung by John Hinckley, who tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan, and Lynette Fromm, who tried to assassinate Ford to try to get Charles Manson out of prison. Ironically, both of those assassins have been released from prison and are living in the public today. And,
Oh my God, that's
and
so
I would
nauseating.
love to get them together to perform that song.
God, it would be so... And the guy is a musician too.
Is he? I don't even remember that
Yeah,
part.
he plays guitar on YouTube.
Oh, really? That's awesome. So we
Yeah.
should totally try to do that, because all of Manson's family were into music. That was like their big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be so funny. Although I don't know, maybe they could do it via Zoom. Fuck. I'm going to have to try to put this together now.
All right. Well,
Now
yeah.
your head's going to be spinning the rest of the night trying to figure this out.
I'm going to get arrested, and it's going to be for the weirdest reason ever.
Literally.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Jameson.
No, you're good. So the Plaza Live reopened 4 days later, paying tribute to Christina. In February 2017, Christina's family announced plans to create a foundation in her honor, calling it the Christina Grimmie Foundation. Its purpose was to support those affected by gun violence and breast cancer.
Okay. That makes sense.
Over the years, Christina's unreleased music had been released, and many have kept her memory alive. John Lennon is the biggest example of what happens when you have unrestricted access to a celebrity and what can happen.
Yeah. We talked about that in another episode, how, and Joyous, I'm sure, I don't know if you remember or not, but he was shot by a fan outside his hotel in
No,
New
I
York
actually
City.
was just watching a YouTube documentary about this.
Oh, cool.
So I actually know about this one.
I know this
Yay.
is the case you've had the most knowledge of. I'm blown
I know,
away.
Exactly.
right? That's wild.
I'm blown away.
In today's musical landscape, artists need to be out there mingling with their fans, but unfortunately, that does sometimes put them in a dangerous position. I get that as a fan of many bands, when I get to meet them, I might be searched or might be frisked or anything like that, but the ones that are truly to blame for what happened are security and the police, and ultimately, Christina paid the price, and she really did deserve better.
Yeah, she did.
It's very sad.
And that is the case of Christina Grimmie.
Ugh,
And that one's tragic. It's so fucked up.
so fucked up.
As a music lover and someone who loves meeting bands, that upsets me because you don't want that to happen because it takes away that access. Because there's nothing better than hanging out with a band you just rocked out to.
People ruin it for everyone, as they always do with everything.
As they do. And it's always like this shitty, like 5% of people that ruin it for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got one more to go. For this one, we're going all the way back to Australia.
Our favorite.
This was, again, this is funny because this was requested by Millennium Angel.
My baby.
Yeah.
Yes, many months ago, but I wasn't really able to get to it, so now I'm finally getting to it. So, here we go, again with the teasers. This one's not too long. So, a homeless man, known locally as Old Ted, was looking for food and anything of value near Tamworth, New South Wales, Australia. As he was doing so, he sees a woman put something on a nearby train track and then leave. Curious,
Odd.
Yes, and he steps closer and he realizes that what the woman left there was a baby pram, or what we would call a stroller.
Mm-hmm.
And inside the stroller is a live baby, and it's moving.
Oh my God.
Ah!
He looks about and realizes that the train isn't coming, but it could be there at any moment. So Old Ted takes the baby into his arms and he notifies the police.
Thanks, Old Ted.
So this is the disturbing case of Katherine Knight. She is also known as Australia's woman Hannibal Lecter.
Ooh.
That's horrifying.
Yes, this is a fucked up case.
Oh, man.
So Knight's mother, Barbara, was originally from a town called Aberdeen in New South Wales, Australia, and she was married to a man named Jack Rowan, or Rogan.
We've talked about Aberdeen before.
Have we? I don't think so.
I could be wrong.
No, it's Snowtown and
Adelaide.
Adelaide, that's it, yes.
That's what I'm thinking of.
So she was forced to move after being caught in an adulterous relationship with another man named Ken Knight, likely after she got pregnant.
Oof.
Now, the Rowan and the Rogan and the Knight families were both well known as in the conservative rural town, and that affair was a major scandal.
Ooh.
So Jack Rogan had 4 children, and 2 of them remained with him, and the other 2 were sent to live with an aunt of his in Sydney. Now, Katherine Knight, she was the younger of twins born to Barbara and Ken Knight on October 24th, 1955. Jack, her mother's first husband, died in 1959, and the other 2 children that lived with him then came and lived with the Knight family. So I'm wondering if it's unclear whether or not they were her mother Barbara's children or not. There was nothing that really specified it, but it's likely.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from her twin, the only person Knight was close to was her uncle Oscar, who was a champion horseman. She was devastated when he committed suicide in 1969.
No.
And she claimed that his ghost visited her throughout her life.
Damn.
The family moved back to Aberdeen that same year in 1969. Now, Katherine Knight's father, Ken, was an alcoholic who openly used violence and intimidation to rape her mother.
Oh my God.
Upwards to 10 times a day.
What the fuck?
Oh God.
10 times a day.
That is an unbelievable thing.
That's crazy to me. Now, Barbara, her mother, for some reason often told her daughters the intimate details of her sex life.
Fucked up. Very fucked up.
And she also shared with them how much she hated sex and men. So later, when Knight complained to her mother, and at this point she's like a teenager, she complains to her mother that one of her partners wanted her to partake in a sexual act that she didn't want to do. Her mother told her to put up with it and stop complaining.
That's lovely motherly
That's a generational curse right there.
Yes, it is. So Knight claims she was frequently sexually abused by several members of her own family, which continued until she was about 11.
No.
I can't.
Given her father's behavior, I can't say I'm surprised.
Yep. So Knight was, by all accounts, a pleasant girl who occasionally experienced uncontrollable rages in response to minor annoyances.
That's PTSD.
Yep. When she attended Muswell Brook High School, she became a loner and is remembered by classmates as a bully who tormented smaller children. She assaulted at least one boy at school with a weapon, and
Oh my God.
and one time she attacked a teacher, and that teacher was forced to injure Katherine while defending himself.
Oh,
my
what
God.
an awful position to be put in.
I can't even imagine. But ironically, in contrast to all these rages, when she was calm, she was a model student. And she actually often won awards for her good behavior.
What? How?
I thought about this when I was typing it up, and the only thing I can come up with is maybe they were like, if we give her an award, maybe she'll keep her calm.
Right, and it's like maybe there were like long stretches of calm.
Maybe. I mean, it must be, because there aren't that many instances of her attacking people.
Mm-hmm.
So upon leaving school at 15, somehow she still hadn't learned to read or write.
Wow.
And she gained employment as a cutter in a clothing factory. 12 months later, she started what she would refer to as her dream job. Now, what was this dream job, you might be wondering?
Was it sewing at the factory?
No. It was working at a local abattoir, cutting up animal meat and their innards.
Oh, God.
An ABBA what?
Abattoir. Basically a slaughterhouse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a much more fun word, abattoir.
I like that word.
That's a hell of a dream job.
That's
I don't
her
like what it
dream job.
bodes for this case, though.
No, not at all. So she was quickly promoted to boning and given her own set of butcher knives.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Sorry. Nice.
Yes.
Me at the bar. You're about to get promoted to boning.
Yeah, you're going to be the boner.
Yeah, I'm taking that one. I'm taking that one out to the bars.
That's
Watch
funny.
out.
That's funny. That's your pickup line.
That's gonna be my pickup line.
Awesome. So those butcher knives that she was given, she would hang them over her bed so that they would always be handy if she needed them. And that's something she continued to do until her incarceration. Knight first met a man that was a hard-drinking coworker named David Stanford Kellett in 1973, and she completely dominated him. Now, if David got into a fight, like if they were at a bar, Knight would step in and back him up with her fists without hesitation.
Damn.
In Aberdeen, she was renowned for calling people to, like, basically challenging people to armed combat if they upset her. Like, literally, imagine some
What
woman.
a reputation.
Yeah, imagine some woman upsetting you, be like, get your fucking knife and let's go. It's crazy.
Oh, I'd be running.
So Knight married David in 1974, and at her request, the couple arrived at their wedding service on her motorcycle, and David was very intoxicated on the back.
Ugh.
As soon as they arrived, Knight's mother, Barbara, gave David some chilling advice. She told him, quote, "Better watch this one or she'll fucking kill you. Stir her up the wrong way or do the wrong thing and you're fucked. Don't ever think of playing her up. She'll fucking kill you."
What a glowing review you're leaving for your child, girlfriend.
Can you imagine? I'd be like, what do you know that I don't?
Literally. Or honestly, it probably wouldn't be surprised. He's like, yeah, that's my bitch. She could kill anyone.
Right, he probably likes it, exactly. So on their wedding night, David was awoken because Katherine Knight was attempting to strangle him.
Oh, great start.
Wow.
She explained that it was because he fell asleep after only having sex with her 3 times, and she expected more based on what her father had done to her mother.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's so sad and fucked up.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, that's a heavy one. Jesus.
Yeah, that's so fucked up. So their marriage was particularly violent, as one can imagine. And on one occasion, a heavily pregnant Knight burned all of David's clothing and shoes before hitting him across the back of the head with a frying pan, simply because he arrived home late from a darts competition after they made the finals and he had to stay to win the tournament.
Jeez.
So in fear for his life, David fled before he collapsed at a neighbor's house and was later treated for a fractured skull.
Holy shit. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Mama warned you, huh?
Police wanted to charge Knight, but by the time they had arrived, she was back on her best behavior and she talked David into dropping the charges.
Ugh,
That's just
classic
twisted.
abuser.
Yep.
In May of 1976, shortly after the birth of their first child, Melissa Ann, David left her for another woman and moved to Queensland. Obviously, completely unable to cope with her shit.
Yeah.
Now, Queensland is a day's drive from where they were living. So the next day, Knight was seen pushing her new baby, Melissa Ann, in the stroller down the street, violently throwing the stroller from side to side.
Ooh.
She was later admitted to St. Elmo's Hospital, where she was diagnosed with postnatal depression and spent several weeks recovering.
Mm-hmm.
After being released, Knight placed the 2-month-old Melissa Ann on the railway line shortly before the train was due.
Oh, and thank God our guy was there.
She then went and stole an axe and went into town and threatened to kill several people. As we discussed, a man known in the district as Old Ted, who was foraging nearby, found and rescued Melissa Ann, and by all accounts, that train came by minutes later. Knight was
Thank
arrested,
God he was there, and thank God he saw that.
and thank God he actually took action.
Yeah, and didn't just say, huh, that's weird.
Yeah, right? So she was arrested and taken back to St. Elmo's Hospital, but apparently recovered and signed herself out the very next day.
And none of them were like, where's your baby?
Well, here's the funny part. They gave Melissa Ann back to her.
What?
No.
Yeah, they gave it back to her. Gave Melissa Ann back to her. Not it. They gave her back to her. Fucking crazy.
That is so fucked up.
And again, we go back to repeat offenders. Here we are.
Yep.
A few days later, Knight slashed the face of a woman with one of her knives and demanded that the woman drive her to Queensland to find David.
Oh my God.
The woman is...
I don't know how this woman has not been arrested, been convicted of anything.
It's crazy. She should not be out free. So the woman escaped after they stopped at a service station, but by the time police arrived, Knight had taken a little boy hostage and was threatening him with a knife.
A little boy. Jesus.
Yep. Knight was disarmed when police attacked her with brooms, and then she was admitted to Morisset Psychiatric Hospital. And I have to say, initially when I heard that they went at her with brooms, I was like, what the fuck? But it's actually not bad because they want to protect the kid.
That makes sense, right? They don't want to be shooting. They don't want to.
Yeah, no more extra blades or anything like that. It's not a fucking sword fight, you know?
Yep, exactly. They just want blunt objects that will force them apart.
While there, Knight told the nurses that she had intended to kill the mechanic at the service station because he was the one who repaired David's car, which allowed him to leave.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Get this woman out of the public, please.
Then she intended to go and kill both her husband and his mother when she arrived in Queensland. Yeah. So when police informed David of the incident, what do you think he did? Take a guess.
He went back to her.
Buy a gun to protect himself?
He and his mother decided to return to Aberdeen to support and take care of Katherine Knight.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
After she threatened to kill them?
Yep. That's what they decided to do.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's giving Stockholm syndrome.
I can't even imagine. There's nothing that would have brought me back to that woman.
Yeah, well, narcissistic abuse like that can be really fucked up and do really fucked up shit to the victims.
Well, the next few lines are even more bizarre. So she was released on August 9th, 1976 into the care of her mother-in-law and her husband.
Insane.
They then moved to Woodridge, a suburb of Brisbane, where Knight obtained a job at Dinmore Meatworks.
Not again.
They would continue to live together for the next 8 years.
Whoa.
On March 6, 1980, they had another daughter named Natasha Marie.
He's having more babies with her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's fucking nuts. In 1984, Knight up and left David. She just left him. And she moved in with her parents in Aberdeen at first, but then she rented a house in nearby Muswellbrook. Now, seriously, this dude and his mother came back to take care of you, and that's how you're going to fucking do them? That's so fucked.
Insane. But honestly, I'm glad they're separated.
Yeah, it fits her, and yes, good for him. Although she returned to work at the abattoir, she ended up injuring her back the following year and had to go out on a disability pension. So no longer needing to rent accommodations close to her work, she ended up moving back to Aberdeen. Knight then met 38-year-old miner David Saunders in 1986. Now, because her first husband is named David and this guy's name's David, I'm going to call him Saunders to avoid any confusion.
Cool.
Okay. A few months later, Saunders moved in with Knight and her 2 daughters, although he still kept his old apartment. Knight soon became jealous regarding what he supposedly did when she was or was not around and would often throw him out of the house. Saunders would, invariably move back to his apartment, and she would, of course, follow him there and beg him to return.
Mm-hmm.
In May of 1987, Katherine Knight decided she needed to warn Saunders as to what would happen should he ever decide to have an affair on her.
Oh, no.
She then proceeded to cut the throat of his young dingo puppy in front of him.
What the fuck?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, she slit the fucking throat of a dog, a puppy. She then knocked him unconscious with a frying pan. And I'm sorry.
Fucking Christ.
I'd have been gone. Like, nope.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is all so fucked up.
In June of 1988, she gave birth to her 3rd daughter, Sarah, which prompted Saunders to put a deposit on a house, which Knight paid off using her workers' compensation through the year of 1989. So when she finally got all this money, they paid off the house. Knight decorated the house throughout the entire house with animal skins, skulls, horns, rusty animal traps, leather jackets, old boots, machetes, rakes, and pitchforks.
Wow, that's an aesthetic.
Literally, even the ceilings were covered. Like, nothing was uncovered.
Oh, I'm sure there are pictures of this, because this is fucking terrifying.
Crazy. This woman's out of her goddamn mind. After an argument where she hit Saunders in the face with an iron...
Ah!
And then she stabbed him in the stomach with a pair of scissors.
Ah!
What?
He got out of the house and went back to his apartment. But while he was gone, and between the time he had left and come back, she had cut up all his clothing.
What the fuck?
Saunders took what's called a long service leave from work, and he went into hiding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those who don't know, a long service leave is something you can use in Australia if you've been with a company for more than 10 years, and you can take it as long as 3 months.
Oh, like a sabbatical.
Yeah, basically. So Knight tried to find him, but no one would admit to her that they knew where he was.
And good. And probably for his, I hope no one did know, because she would try to drag it out of them.
Well, several months later, he did return to see his daughter, but found that Knight had gone to the police and told them that she was afraid of him, and they had issued an apprehended violence order against him, which is basically like a restraining order.
Damn, and I guess he never reported, like, the
That's
actual
a
violence that
sick
she did
joke.
to him.
Correct. It's fucked up. Yeah. I can't, to me, like, how do you not see it as police? But again,
She's clearly a narcissist and a great manipulator. I mean, she's getting partners after all this.
and here's the funny part about that, because I'm going to post photos. This isn't like she's like beautiful. She's not like a model. She's not even like cute. Like, there's no reason like that men should be tripping all over her and
Right,
wanting
I'm
to
sitting
stay
here
with
like,
her.
damn, and I'm single? The fuck?
Crazy. Yeah, maybe you should act like this. Maybe guys will be...
Honestly, I have considered maybe I should be more crazy.
No comment.
Ouch.
In 1990, Knight became pregnant by a 43-year-old former abattoir co-worker, John Chillingworth, and gave birth the following year to a boy that they named Eric. Their relationship lasted 3 years before she left him for a man that she had been having an affair with for some time named John Price.
She's just full on, like, insane bitch.
Yeah, like, I don't get it. Like, going back to, I don't understand why guys want to be with her, especially once she starts getting violent.
Abuse works the same way on men as it does on women, in that it doesn't make sense from an outside perspective why people stay, but
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
there's nothing special here just because a woman is the abuser. It's the same shit.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I just, again, I would never be in a relationship like that, so it's hard for me to fathom it.
Right.
So John Pricey Price was the father of 3 children of his own when he met Knight and when they started their affair. He was reportedly a terrific bloke, liked by everyone who knew him, and his own marriage had ended in 1988. While his 2-year-old daughter had remained with his former wife, his 2 older children lived with him. John was well aware of Knight's violent reputation, and yet he allowed her to move into his house in 1995.
Fucked with his fucking kids. Ugh.
Now, his children actually liked her. And
Oh, wow.
he was making a lot of money working in the local mines, so apart from some violent arguments, life at first was really good for them. However, in 1998, they had a fight over John's refusal to marry her, and in retaliation, Knight videotaped items that he had taken from his work and sent the tape to his boss.
This bitch.
Now, although the items were like out-of-date medical kits that he had taken out of like the trash, he was fired from a job he had held for 17 years.
Oh,
Wow.
That's
This fucking bitch.
She's fucking nuts, yeah. That same day, he kicked her out, and she returned to her own home. From there, the news of what she had done had kind of spread throughout the town. A few months later, John restarted their relationship, although he now refused to allow her to move into his house. Their fighting became more frequent, and most of his friends would no longer have anything to do with him while he remained with her. In February of 2000, a series of assaults on John culminated with Knight stabbing John in the chest.
No.
On February 29th, he stopped at the magistrate's court on his way to work and took out a restraining order to keep her away from him and his children.
It's a good move.
That afternoon at work, he told his co-workers that if he didn't come in the next day, it was probably because Katherine had killed him. They pleaded with him not to go home, but he told them that he believed if he didn't, she might kill his children.
Bring the police, buddy.
Yes, exactly. Now, John arrived home to find that Knight had sent their children away for a sleepover at their friend's house, although at the time she herself wasn't there. So I'm guessing there was like a note or something left.
Right.
Now, earlier that day, Katherine Knight had gone out and bought new black lingerie and had kind of videotaped herself with her kids. And the whole time she was making these weird comments, like they'd be out at restaurants or out at, shopping. And what she was saying was essentially kind of like a crude will. Kind of saying like, oh, if anything ever happened to me, you get this. That kind of thing.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So John, when he got home and saw that his kids weren't there and that she wasn't there, he spent the evening hanging out with neighbors before he returned home and went to bed at 11 p.m. Knight later arrived at John's house while he was sleeping, and at first she sat and watched TV for a little while before taking a shower. She then put on the black lingerie, woke up John, and they had sex, and after which he fell asleep. We're going to skip ahead a little bit. At 6 a.m. the next morning, a neighbor became concerned because John's car was still in the driveway, and when John didn't arrive at work, his employer sent someone to see if he was okay.
We expected this.
Yep. Both the neighbor and the coworker tried knocking on John's bedroom window to wake him, but after noticing blood on his front door, they called the police at 8 a.m. Police broke down the back door, and as one of the officers stepped inside, he moved a strange curtain out of his way. The officer thought it was strange that the curtain was wet, and when he looked at his arm, the one he used to move the curtain, it was covered in blood.
Oh my God.
He looked up at the curtain and realized that it was John's skin hanging there in one large piece. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, this is a woman who's very skilled with those knives working in an abattoir.
Yeah, Sheena's...
She literally cut off his entire skin in one piece.
What?
One
Oh
continuous
my God.
piece.
I am literally speechless. What the fuck?
So here's
That's
what...
terrifying skill.
Yes, and here's what Katherine Knight had done. Once he fell back asleep, she stabbed John with a butcher's knife while he was still asleep. According to the blood evidence, he woke and tried to escape while she chased him throughout the house. He managed to open the front door and get outside, but he either stumbled back inside or was dragged back into the hallway, where he eventually died after bleeding out. Later, Katherine went into Aberdeen and withdrew $1,000 from John's account. John's autopsy revealed that he had been stabbed at least 37 times in both the front and the back of his body, with many of the wounds extending into vital organs.
Oh, God.
Several hours after John had died, Knight skinned him and hung the skin from the frame of the door. She then decapitated him and started cooking parts of his body.
No.
She served the meat up with baked potatoes, pumpkin, zucchini, cabbage, yellow squash, and gravy.
Oh,
That's just twisted as hell.
She had 2 places set at the dinner table with notes beside them with the names of his children there.
No.
She had every intention of serving him to his children.
This fucking bitch. I hope she's dead.
We'll get there. A third meal was found thrown on the back lawn for unknown reasons, but it's speculated that when she tried to eat it herself, she couldn't bring herself to do it for some reason.
Yeah, maybe she's not actually a good cook.
That's really funny. John's head was found in a pot cooking with vegetables. The pot was still warm, estimated between 40 and 50 degrees Celsius or 104 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit, indicated that the cooking had taken place earlier that morning.
Oh.
Sometime later,
Up all night doing this shit and then cooking.
Sometime later, Knight arranged the body with his left arm draped over an empty 1.25 liter of soft drink with his legs crossed. Knight, who...
the skinless body, you mean?
Exactly.
With no
Skinless,
head?
headless body. Exactly. Knight had also left a handwritten note on top of a photograph of John. Blood-stained and covered in small pieces of flesh, the note read, and keep in mind before I read this that I'm adjusting what she wrote because she has no idea how to read or write, and this is a disaster when you look at how badly the spelling is. But I'm going to read it the way it should be written. Quote, "Time you got back, Jonathan, for raping my daughter. You to Beck, or for Ross, for little John. Now play with little John's dick, John Price." So basically, she's accusing him of molesting all 3 of their children, none of which was remotely founded. So Knight was originally tried to offer a plea deal. She tried to plead guilty to manslaughter.
Manslaughter?
Yeah, she claimed she didn't remember anything.
Yeah.
Manslaughter?
But her offer of...
Slaughtered a man, sure.
Yeah, like literally slaughtered him.
Yeah, like you if we're taking it really literally.
Yes. But that was rejected, and she was arraigned on February 2nd, 2001 on the charge of murder, to which she entered a plea of not guilty.
Oh my fucking God.
Her trial was initially set for July 23rd, 2001, but was adjourned due to her counsel's illness, and it was reset for October 15th, 2001. When the trial commenced, Justice Barry O'Keefe offered a group of 60 people that were going to be the jurors. He basically said that they could excuse themselves before the trial started based on the nature of the photographic evidence that was about to be presented to them.
Oh my God, yeah.
So
That's good of them to let them say, I can't handle that.
Exactly. So based on that alone, 5 accepted and were excused. When the witness list was read out to the prospects, several more also dropped out, and at that point, then the jury was impaneled. Knight's attorney then spoke to the judge, who adjourned to the following day. So basically they have their jury, everything's about to start, and her attorney walks up and says something to the judge. And the judge decides, okay, we'll wait until tomorrow.
Damn.
The next day, Knight changed her plea to guilty, and the jury was dismissed.
Wow.
Yeah, so he must have basically said, I think I can convince her to plead guilty and we won't have to do this.
And then not have to traumatize anybody with those pictures.
Exactly. The judge had adjourned the trial, and then he ordered a psychiatric assessment overnight to determine if Knight understood the consequences of the guilty plea and to see if she was fit to actually say she was guilty. Her legal team had planned to defend her by claiming amnesia and dissociation.
That's absurd.
Yep. At this point, even psychiatrists sort of supported it because they didn't think she was in her right mind, but they did say she was sane enough to stand trial.
Good.
Right. I mean, she definitely, there is no, that is her mind, though. Like, it's like, there's nothing right about it, but it is her mind.
Exactly. She never gave any reason for why she changed her plea to guilty, and she still refused to accept responsibility for her actions.
Wow.
At the sentencing hearing, Knight's lawyers requested that she be excused to avoid having to hear some of the facts. But this was refused. Right.
Absolutely not, bitch.
So when Dr. Timothy Lyons took the stand and described the skinning and the decapitation, Knight became hysterical and had to be sedated.
Are you kidding me? Come on.
Fucking crazy. On November 8th, Justice O'Keefe pointed out that the nature of the crime and Knight's lack of remorse required a severe penalty.
Mm-hmm.
He sentenced her to life imprisonment, refused to fix a non-parole period, and ordered that her papers be marked never to be released.
Yup.
This is the first time in Australian history that a woman has been given that sentence.
Wow.
In June of 2006, Knight appealed the life sentence, claiming that a penalty of life in jail without the possibility of parole was too severe. Right?
Oh, wow, that's fascinating.
You were going to feed a man to his children.
Literally, bitch.
Yeah.
Rot in there.
So 3 justices dismissed her appeal. One of them said, quote, "This was an appalling crime, almost beyond contemplation in a civilized society," unquote. And to this day, Katherine Knight is behind bars, and she's probably never going to get out.
Good.
Exactly.
I sure hope so.
How fucking crazy is that?
Holy
That
crap.
was nuts, and what a way to close out this episode.
Right, and of course we got it from Millennium Angel. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really, what a crazy case. Thank you for telling us about that one, because that was fucking wild.
That one's absolutely crazy. And you're right, it's a great way to close out this Murder Bites episode. No pun intended.
Hey.
All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again. We'll see you soon. I am Janus Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.